Western Arkansas. The small town of Mena. Population, just over 5,000. The perfect place to disappear. And the perfect place to keep the empire's dirtiest secrets. Late at night, a heavy military transport plane lands on the runway of the local municipal airport, its navigation lights off. Its cargo hold is packed with canvas bags. The cargo doesn't clear customs. The pilots don't present any documents. The plane simply taxis into a remote hangar, and unmarked trucks immediately pull up alongside it. If the local sheriff were to stick his nose in there, he'd find tons of the purest Colombian cocaine. But the police don't come here. The Federal Aviation Administration's radars mysteriously go blind when these flights cross the border. Because the pilots have papers in the cockpit with access codes printed at Langley. This isn't smuggling. It's the slush fund of the most powerful nation on Earth. It was Echelon of Darkness, and only a few people in the White House knew its code name. To understand how a Colombian drug cartel came to enjoy diplomatic immunity, we need to go back to Washington in the early 1980s. Central America is ablaze. In Nicaragua, the leftist Sandinistas have come to power. For President Ronald Reagan, this is unacceptable. Communism right in America's backyard. The White House demands to arm and fund the Contras, brutal rebels hiding in the jungle. But then Congress intervenes. Tired of covert wars, senators pass the Boland Amendment, a law strictly prohibiting U.S. intelligence agencies from spending even a single cent to overthrow the Nicaraguan government. The law became a sacred oath. But for those operating in the shadows, the oath was merely an obstacle. In the basements of the White House, in room 302 of the government building, sat a man for whom laws were nothing more than an annoying hindrance, Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North. A member of the legendary National Security Council, he created a structure he simply called the Enterprise. If the government wouldn't provide funds legally, North would find them in the shadows. He was ready for anything, even a deal with the devil. This is where Barry Seal enters the picture, a legendary pilot, adventurer, and one of the Medellín Cartel's top smugglers. Seal and his team were based at that very sleepy airport in Mena, Arkansas. The state governor at the time was a young Bill Clinton, and, as many researchers claim, state authorities preferred to simply look the other way. The deal was tacit but devilishly effective. The Enterprise's planes dropped weapons to rebels in Nicaragua. Weapons purchased with money from another secret deal, the illegal sale of missiles to Iran. But there still wasn't enough money. On the return trip, they would land on dirt strips in Colombia or Honduras, where Pablo Escobar's men would load them to the brim with cocaine. Then, under the tacit cover of CIA agents, these same planes would enter U.S. airspace unhindered. The government turned a blind eye as the streets of Miami, Los Angeles, and New York were flooded with crack, because the cartel's dirty money was funding a geopolitical game in the jungle. It was the Arkansas Code. Security in exchange for chaos. Any secret lasts only until the first mistake. On October 5, 1986, a C-123 aircraft was shot down over the jungles of Nicaragua by an old Soviet man-pads. 2 pilots were killed instantly, but the third, airdrop specialist Eugene Hasenfuss, managed to bail out with a parachute. When the Sandinistas pulled him out of the swamps, they found a business card with a direct line to the White House and flight logs linking the CIA to smuggling flights. The code had been cracked. Panic broke out in Washington. Oliver North locked himself in his office. Shredders ran around the clock, devouring thousands of pages of classified directives, checks, and coded messages. When there were too many papers, North's secretary, the long-legged blonde Von Hall, carried the most secret documents right past FBI agents, hiding them in her high leather boots. It was a last-ditch attempt to save the Enterprise. The Iran-Contra scandal nearly cost Ronald Reagan the presidency. Commissions met for months, but the main secret, the connection between the intelligence agencies and the tons of cocaine that destroyed an entire generation of Americans, was neatly swept under the rug. Barry Seal, ready to testify, was riddled with bullets from a MAC-10 submachine gun right in his car in Baton Rouge. The secret of his death was taken to the grave by the cartel hitmen, but who gave the order remained in the shadows. The system protected itself, and the quiet Mena airport in the mountains of Arkansas was once again shrouded in fog, and its soil still bears the mark of the greatest lie in history. But who knows? Perhaps this Echelon is still on its way. It's just that today it uses different codes and different planes.